Take 17, seller's templates, residential real estate listing agreement, exclusive right to sell. First section, seller, nothing in there for your template. You'll get that information when you actually get a listing. Broker information will always be the same, except on the email, you want to make sure that's your email, not mine. Down to the numbers, section number 2 will be coming off your tax records. You don't want anything for your template. Page 2. Exclusions. The most underused, could be possibly the most valuable tool for negotiating in a real estate deal. And very few agents take advantage of this. And I think it's sad because you are missing a great opportunity to make a better deal for your client. I will put things in exclusions. Typically, your exclusions and what agents will tell their sellers is they'll say, okay, is there anything in the house that's here that's permanent to the house, like a chandelier, gas logs in the fireplace, that you really don't want to leave, that you just want to take it with you to your next house. It's okay if you do that. I just need to know so we can put it under exclusions. Now, if I have a seller that tells me they're taking the chandelier with them, but I tell them take it down. Take it down now. Put up another one that you're okay to leave. But don't let the buyer see it, because when the buyer sees it and you tell them they can't have it, then they want it. So if you really, really, really want to take it with you, take it down. But if you don't care about that chandelier in there, I would exclude it. And I would exclude maybe the washer and dryer. If you don't want to take that with you, exclude it. I've excluded patio furniture. I've excluded a lot of things. I've excluded a bedroom furniture, a pool table. Anything that I thought that the buyer said they don't want, they want to get rid of it, I will exclude it. Because buyers tend to think that if they can't have something, then it's something that they need. And I found this out when we sold the house back in 1980. We had just put in a over the stove microwave with the vent and the light in. Today, those are put in the lower end houses, but back in 1980, those were $1,000. They weren't cheap. That's equivalent to like $2,000 or more today. And so when I got that was mine. I was taking that with me. I wasn't about to leave it there for a buyer. I'd also put in a $600 ceiling fan over the breakfast table, which was actually our dining room breakfast combination. And it was a beautiful Hunter. And I put that in. It had a big picture window that looked out in the backyard. And so it had that fan. And it looked really great. So I'd put that in there, and I said, I'm not leaving that either. I'm taking that to the next house, because it was $600. And $600 in 1980 was a lot of money. I wasn't about to leave it. So we excluded it. When we got the buyer for our house, the buyer wrote into the contract that they wanted that ceiling fan and they wanted that microwave. And I said, absolutely not. It's excluded. It doesn't stay with the house. My agent then negotiated with the buyer to pay full price for the house and to buy me a $400 countertop microwave to take to my next house. And I reluctantly agreed to do that. Even though that microwave wouldn't even fit in my next house, because we had a Thermador range that was larger than that one, and it wouldn't have fit no matter what I could have done. I would have had to rebuild the whole cabinets in order to make it fit, but I wasn't about to leave it because it was mine. Sellers can get that way. Buyers want something that they can't have, so they will pay more for the house in order to get that and not have to buy it someplace else. So I learned that, and I've used that throughout my career. When we sold our house, the last house, we had a bunch of patio furniture that I didn't have any place for in my new house. I only had a little 10 by 10 patio, whereas the back house, the first house had a swimming pool and a huge cabana in the back. I had a table with 8 chairs. I had a sofa, a love seat. I had lounges. I couldn't use any of that here. So I excluded all the patio furniture when we sold the house, and the buyers came in from Canada, and they didn't have any patio furniture at all, and they paid more for the house just so they could keep that patio furniture. Use that to your client's advantage. If they've got something that they don't want anymore, exclude it an old washer and dryer. They said, you know, I'm going to buy new at the next house, so I'm leaving the washer and dryer. If you leave it, the buyers won't think anything of it. If you say it's included with the purchase, they won't think anything of it. If you tell them they can't have it and they need a washer and dryer, then they want it. And if they put a value on it that's more than what it's actually worth, the washer and dryer today, if you buy brand new, you're looking at $1,500 to $2,000 for a washer and dryer. So in their mind, if they've been out shopping, that's worth $1,500 to them. So they may pay more for the house just to keep that washer and dryer there. They don't have to go shopping. Use that to your client's advantage. It's powerful. People don't think about things like that. When they start talking about negotiating a deal, all they think about is the day, the closing, and the how much it's going to cost. But this is actually powerful to exclude something. So take advantage of that. E, mark that it is in a HOA. List price, I never fill out the list price until we get to the house, and I go over it with the clients and explain to them that here's the high, medium, and low. You choose where you want it to go. Here's where the market puts it. So you decide if you want to go right where the market puts it, this is where the price would be. If you want to go just a little bit below so we could possibly get more interest in it, this is where it would be. If you want to put a little bit high to see how far you can push it, this is where it would be. You decide. And then you tell me if we don't get showings in the first few weeks or the first couple of weeks, you'll know it's way too high, and you can tell me then to drop the price down. I do not set the price for my clients, and I tell them that. This is your house. You know what your needs are, not me. You tell me what you want to put it at, and if it doesn't have any showings, you will know that you are too high. If we get a lot of showings and we get multiple offers, we may get a better price than what you even wanted. It's up to you. Listing, we always go 6 months. So you go from the day that you sign the contract, then you go out 6 months with it. They will say, oh, no, I only want to try you for 3 months. And you say, really? Why do you only want to try for 3 months? Do you know what the market is, the average house that stay on the market? And you should have that on your comps. You say the average time on the market right now is 93 days. So you're telling me that I've only got 90 days when the average is at 93. And some of these have been on the market for 180 days, and you're telling me that I only have 90 days to sell it. Do you think I work magic? Is there something special about your house that you think that it's going to sell very, very quickly? Or is it simply that you're just trying to test the market to see, do you realize it costs money to put a house on the market? And I'm not going to charge you anything up front. So I need the full amount of 6 months to pay to take it. Now, I don't think it's going to take 6 months, but the brokerage requires a 6-month contract on it. There's any number of ways that you can word that to them, and there will be a class on negotiating this, the full sitting down. We'll do a full listing presentation, but this is something that's important. We don't do less than 6 months, and it's because it's not fair. They can list it with you for 3 months, turn around and put it with somebody else because it didn't sell, and the next day it sells. It's been on the market for 3 months. Other people have seen it. They may not be able to get to it until then. Their house may not have sold. Any number of scenarios. So why punish us? We're the ones that put it out there. Compensation. This office requires 7%. And I know the market out there typically is not used to seeing 7%, but they don't do what we do. We are worth every penny of it. With our pre-owned certification, with our 3D videos, with our HDR photos, with the Marketing International, the things that we do, other brokerages do not do. We ask for 7%. There are sellers out there that will appreciate the effort that we put into it and realize that it's worth it. If you get in a situation where the seller says, yeah, but I just talked to 2 other brokerages and they're only going to charge me 6%. Why am I going to go with you for 7%? You look them square in the eye and say, are they offering everything that we're offering? They'll tell you no. They say, well, what if we took some of the stuff off? Could we take some of the stuff off and get it down to 6%? And then you just say, okay, what would you like to take off in order to get it down to 6%? But before you answer that question, I want to tell you that I don't set the rate, the brokerage does. And the only way I can get this down is to get permission from the broker. But what I need before I ever go to that broker and ask for this, I need to know from you is if I can get it to the 6%, will you sign this listing agreement today? Because if I can get it to 6%, you're getting a better deal than anybody else in the market that can come out here and market it. You're getting more than anybody else can offer for you, and you're going to get it at the same rate. But I need a guarantee that you're going to sell it. You're going to sign it today, or I'm not going to go to the broker and ask for permission. And if they say yes, then call me up, explain to me while they can hear that I'm working on this deal. I do have competition for this listing, and the only way they're going to sign it is for you to agree to 6%. Will you give me permission to put 6% on it? And I will give you the permission to put 6%. You change that 7 to 6, you get everybody to initial offer, and you get them to sign that listing agreement right then. Don't tell them that you're going to go 6% and you'll come back and get them to sign it. You will get it. Okay. Scroll on down to the next page. Other fees and reimbursement expenses. This office charges a $600 office administration fee for early withdrawal or termination. If they sign a contract for 6 months and they decide that they don't want to sell it anymore, or they've decided they want to go with their cousin who just got their license, or any number of reasons that they want to take it off the market with you, they have to pay the office $600 to cover the expenses of marketing this property up to that point. That doesn't go to you, the agent. It comes back to the office, because the office pays for the sign, the marketing, the lockbox, and everything, the video, everything that's been involved with that listing. So it comes back to the office. I started doing this about 2, maybe 3 years into mine. Yeah, I just started doing it when I was at RE/MAX, so it would have been in my 3rd year. And since I've been doing this, I have not had one termination or one withdrawal, because they don't want to pay $600 to go with their cousin. So, or whatever reason, they just don't do it. They don't want to pay $600. They'll sign the agreement saying, yes, I'll do that if I get unhappy. But if it gets to the point and it doesn't sell right away, and most of them eventually will sell. But if they start feeling like that they're not happy or anything, like I said, you can get out of the contract anytime you're not happy. You just have to pay the $600. They won't do it. They'll let you they'll let this office spend the money to market that, but they certainly will not pay us back. So that keeps your listings. It's a valuable tool as well. Protection period is 90 days. If they decided they did want to withdraw or terminate, you need to understand the difference between withdrawal and terminate. If you withdraw a property from the market, if they say, you know what, I don't want you to market this property anymore, for any number of reasons. One, a pipe broke and they flooded the house, and they've got to clean everything up, and it's going to take a month to get it all ready. They don't want it on the market. They don't want anybody to know what's happened right off the bat. So we're going to withdraw it for 30 days, and then we'll put it back on the market active again. That's perfectly fine. There's no fee for that. But if they come, some agents will use the withdrawal if somebody tells them, you know what, I don't want to be with you anymore. Just take me off the market. They will withdraw it. If it's withdrawn, they cannot list it with another agent. So if somebody were to tell us, until it terminates, if someone were to tell us that they wanted to withdraw it, but they refused to pay the $600, they would not be able to list it with another agent until the end of the 6-month term of the original agreement. And they can't force us to terminate it unless they pay the $600. So it's a protection period for us. Now, the 90-day protection period is for if they decided that, say they took it off the market and you had it, and now they didn't terminate it. I mean, they didn't withdraw it, and they didn't go with anybody else. They just took it off the market. And you presented them with the name of everybody, which, by the way, you get from the agents that's shown it. You can put the listing agent's name. If the listing agent won't tell you their name of their buyer, just put the listing agent's name and the date they showed it. Then if you use centralized showing, and when you schedule your buyers, if you'll put your buyer's name in there, you make it a lot easier for an agent if something happens like this and they have to show the proof to the seller within the 10 days. So you need to know who showed it within the 10 days. And you present that to them. If they don't go with somebody else, they just take it off the market, and one of those buyers comes back, you're still going to get paid. And that's what the contract says for 90 days. If any of them come back, or their family members come back and buy the property, you're going to get paid. But if they list it with somebody else, they terminate it, and they list it with somebody else, you're not going to get paid. Not fair, but that's the way it is. Okay, you don't have to explain that to them. All you have to explain is the 90 days and the 10 days that you have to show the names. Under F, put Harris County because that's where our office is. And number 6, mark A because it will go on the MLS. If for any reason somebody does not want it on the MLS, it says, I don't want it out there on the MLS. I don't want it on the internet. I don't want these freaks seeing my house and coming and breaking in and stealing all my stuff. The only option you have then is to put a sign in the yard and use other forms of marketing like the magazine or emails. If you don't want it out, if they say they absolutely do not want it on the net. If they say they don't want it on the net and they don't want a sign in the yard, that leaves only emails and the magazine, which makes it next to impossible to sell. Doesn't mean it can't, it's next to impossible. I would second think a listing that anybody who doesn't want it on the MLS and doesn't want it on the internet at all, it means we can't put it on our website, we can't do anything. So I would question whether that would even be a listing I'd take. All right, then you want to come down to centralized showing. In this office, everyone, without exception, is required to put all listings on centralized showing. And in the past, I've had agents that say, well, I just don't have $40 to do that, and they can call me and they can make appointments, and then I can schedule with the seller, and they make all kinds of excuses. It has been a royal pain because here's what happens. They call me because they'll see the office number and they call the office number before they call the seller's number, the agent's number in order to make an appointment. And when they call me to make an appointment and I find out that you didn't put it on centralized showing, you're going to be in trouble. Absolutely every listing for leases or for sale goes on centralized showing. This office is providing everything else for you. You can pay $40 a day, bill it to you later in order to put it on there because you are inconveniencing your client when a seller can't or an agent cannot make an appointment because they can't get a hold of you, and I don't make appointments. So you absolutely have to put it on centralized showing. You don't get a choice in that. Okay, going down to lockbox. The broker is allowed to put a lockbox on the property. Come down to the MLS participation and non-MLS participation. We put 3% all the way down the board. And you explain this to your clients when you're doing your listing presentation and say, listen, there are agents and there are realtors. I am a realtor, which means that I'm a member of the Texas Association of Realtors, the National Association of Realtors, and the Houston Association of Realtors. I am held accountable. And if I do something that's unethical or illegal, I can be severely punished. Then you have agents. Agents are not members of associations. They do not have a professional standards that they have to abide by. They are only regulated by TREC itself. If somebody doesn't like something, they have to file a complaint with TREC, and then TREC's only they can fine them, or I don't think they can fine them. I think they can just take their license away if it's severe enough. But when you're a realtor, like this office, we only use super keys in order to, super lock boxes on our homes, which means if you're not a realtor, you can't get in. So an agent who's out there working with a buyer would have to call us and then schedule an appointment with the listing agent or someone within the office to show the property because they can't get in. We have to come open the door and we have to show it, and we will stay with them while they're showing the property. There's a couple of reasons why we do that. One, we feel it's our obligation as the listing agent to make sure that every qualified buyer sees the property, and to peace of mind for the seller knowing that there is somebody who's going to be held accountable there when the property is being shown. So you as a listing agent you do not have the option in this office to say, no, well, if you're not a realtor, I'm not opening the door for you. And by the way, if you're not a realtor, you're not going to get paid. No, the brokerage sets the standard for that, and the brokerage says, we don't care. Everybody gets paid if they bring a buyer, because we have a duty to our client to bring and make access for every buyer, no matter who they are, or who's representing them. We don't care. There are agents out there that will say if you are a non-MLS, you get zero pay. You're not getting paid anything. They'll put zero on the MLS. Who are they thinking about? Are they really putting their client's best interest? No. What they're doing is discouraging that agent who can't get into the house anyway from even calling them to say, hey, open the door for my buyer. Because why would they when they're not going to get paid? To me, they're not doing their fiduciary duty. In this office, we do our fiduciary duty, and we do whatever it takes to sell that property for our client. And we don't care if we have to go and open the door for them. It's part of our job. So everybody gets paid. Intermediary status, explain to them what that means, that if you're the listing agent can't represent the buyer will be reassigned to another agent within the office that has no personal information on the seller at all. So we can have full fiduciary duty to both parties. This is where you would mark if they do not want to be on the MLS. Okay, authorized to market the property. We always market that it's conventional, FHA, cash. You need to talk to your client to see will they approve a VA loan. VA loans are a little bit different. There's I think $1,500 or $1,800 that the buyer's not allowed to pay. That's typically absorbed within the banker. The mortgage person will absorb that somehow, put it into the fees, whatever. I don't know how they do it, but that's typically not a situation that the sellers end up paying for, but sometimes it can be. So you need to explain to the seller that the inspection, how the inspection works, and make sure that they on an inspection that they can't have anything that on the foundation. It has to be completely exposed, and they can't have any broken windows. Those are the two main things they look for in inspections. So it's not like it used to be when the years ago inspections were so stringent that houses wouldn't qualify for it, and so you take it off the market and then it wouldn't qualify. So we're going to do a whole class on VA, but you just have to make sure that don't mark it. You have to qualify that with the seller before that gets marked. Then scroll on down here. This is important. You need to ask the seller, are you delinquent in your property taxes, your HOA, or your mortgage? If they are, make sure it's put in there. Are there any liens against the property or encumbrances? If they think there might be, you might want to open title on that property immediately. Take it to the title company and say, we need to open title on this. We need to find out that there's any liens against this property. And there very well could be that they may not even be aware of. But if there's any chance that there might be, they've had repairs done, that there was a dispute on something, there may be a lien on that property. So you need to get that checked out. Take it to the title company immediately and open title on it. Then come back down here, are they being relocated? You need to know if they're being relocated, because if they are, you may have to work with a relocation company, and you may be giving up anywhere from 39 to 49% of the commission. We'll go into that later too. That's a sore spot with me. Special provisions. As always in this office, absolutely nothing goes in special provisions without broker authority. That's on contracts received or contracts written. And with this, you're automatically going to do the information about broker services, the seller's disclosure, residential, the T47 if they have a survey, and the MUD. If it's built prior to 1976, you would add the lead-based paint, and if anything else works. These are the major ones that you're always going to do. Scroll down, put Imagine Realty International, my broker's number, your name down below, and we're done. Okay, check out the competition. I'm going to show you how to go back and check out your competition. If you're a buyer's agent, you want to know who the listing agent is. And if you're a listing agent, you want to know who the buyer's agent is. It's good to know who you're dealing with. If you're brand new, working with somebody else that's brand new, you're learning together. Share that information with each other. Say, you know, I know you're new just like me, so we can learn this together. And it's actually nice. Some of your worst problems that you're going to have in real estate is dealing with the other agent. If you know who you're dealing with by how much education they've had or how many classes they've taken, how long they've been in the business, how many transactions they've done, That helps you to size up who your competition is. But don't be discouraged if your person that you're dealing with has been in the business for 10 years and you just got started. That doesn't mean that they know more than you do. They've just been in the business longer. Don't let them beat you up, because sometimes agents can be very mean to new agents. It's wrong, because it's a great opportunity to teach a new agent how they should be doing this business. So that's what we do. We teach whenever we can. First thing I want you to do is go into search. Scroll down where it says custom search. Go over and all the way down and hit all. This is what is going to come up. Later we'll have a class on how you do custom searches for your clients. But this is first to find out about other agents. So you want to go to create a custom search. You want to come down here and put a name on it. What you're going to be looking for is the listing agent public ID. So you want to put that over. Then you're going to come down and find the selling agent public ID. Then you want the sold hang on, I'll find it here in a second. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Closing date. And then you're going to hit Save Search. And this is what you're going to see. Okay? Now that you've got that done, you can go back over to your roster. I typically will open up another tempo so I can keep my search on one side and I can check out more than one person at a time. So I open another tempo, I go to roster. You want the last name of the agent. And since I'm going to be using my own info so that I don't discredit anybody else, you're going to pull up the public ID. And then you want to copy that name, come back to your other search, and hit all, paste the name in, and then leave this open if you just want to know everything that they've done. If you wanted to know just what they did over the last year, you can start in and just put in the year date here. But if you just hit all, this is every listing that I've had in my 10 years. Well, it's 9.5 years. Then if you want to go back and hit revise, go back and just copy, just click on it, move it down, and this is all the buyers that I've worked with. It also includes, because we hit all, it includes all rentals. So you can see everything that I've done. So if you're checking somebody out and you see that, okay, well, this person kind of knows what they're doing. But just because I've done all this, that doesn't mean that I know everything, because I honestly believe that people's education is just as important as their production. So go into Trek and then put in the last name of the agent. Come down and find it. There's 2 walk-tails. Find me. Scroll down and look at the number of hours of education that I've had over the last 9.5 years. This to me is more important than how many production, because this shows you that I take this business very seriously and I do know what I'm talking about when I say something. But if you're looking at somebody that's got good production, you come back and all they're doing is the minimum every 2 years. They're doing their legal, their ethics, and they're doing the 15 hours, and that's it. They're not doing anything else. Are they really taking it as serious as somebody who's done their education? And do they really know as much as you do? Chances are they don't even know. You can probably know more than they do. You just got out of class. Because they're just taking the bare minimum. They're doing their production, but they could be old clients. You don't know that. So you, just because they've been in the business a long time, if they're not keeping up on the education, they very well may not know as much as you do. So don't let them push you around. Okay. That's how you check them out.